Hey guys, this is Eric with Painting Business Pro, and today I want to talk to you about how in the world we pay our subs 50%. This is one of the biggest questions that I get is how do we pay 50%? How is that even possible? I can't believe that you only pay 50%. You should have to pay more. Contractors won't work for that. And why in the world will contractors work for 50% when they could go and book that same job? We book it for $3,000, we pay them $1,500. Why don't they just go book that job for $2,300 and make an extra $800? So I want to address those two questions today. Is first, how are we able to pay 50% of the job to our contractors? And second, why don't they just go out and do this on their own without us and make a lot more money? So we're going to kind of get to that. So to start out, I first want to address pricing. So when we say we pay our contractors 50% of the job, we don't just book a house and then cut the price in half and pay the contractor that. I think a lot of people think that we're just selling the job however we're selling it and then finding people who are willing to do it for 50%, and that's not the case. It's actually the other way around. We know how much money we're going to have to pay a good contractor to do a job. So when we're estimating a house, the way we estimate a house is we find out how much we would need to pay the contractor on that job. So let's say this particular house, we know we have to pay $1,500 to a contractor. So when we know we have to pay $1,500, we know we have to charge $3,000. So we double what we know we're going to have to pay, and so that's how we're able to pay $1,500. It's not the other way around. So we're actually paying really good prices to our contractors, and sometimes we don't pay 50%. Like there's jobs where I pay 57, 58, 60%, and we learn from those jobs, and usually those are mistakes on our end, and we adjust our pricing. So for example, a year ago, we lost a lot of money on interior jobs, on decks and on fences. So stain work and interior work. We didn't actually lose money on it, but we paid more than 50% on a lot of those types of jobs. So the next year we raised our prices a little bit for those kind of jobs. So we are always paying our contractors like a good fair amount, and if they get out to a house and it's not bid well and it's too low, like they'll negotiate with us a little bit. So that's the first thing to understand, is that we're paying fair prices out. So some people it might just mean like raising your prices by like $300 or $400, which we did. You know, we actually did do that a year ago. Our average job size went from about $2,800 up to about $3,500. And we didn't see a negative impact on our sales at all because we're delivering really quality work, and our price is still in the ballpark with other comparable companies to ours. So any of the larger companies that are reputable, that have warranties, that are professional, that people know about, like the companies that have really marketed themselves, they have to charge these similar prices to what we're charging because it's expensive to run this kind of business. Which kind of brings me to the next point, which is why not just do it themselves? Actually, before I get to this, I want to jump back here. So I mentioned we do fair pricing. So we're not stiffing contractors, and we're not selling jobs to the lowest bidder. We're charging a premium price for a premium job. We do excellent work, and we keep good contractors around because we pay them well. And if we pay over 50%, we adjust for that. Subs versus employees. This is an interesting point too, is some people think that subcontracting should be more expensive or less or different from employees, but the truth is managing employees will most times actually cost you more money than subcontractors will. And the reason for that is when you're paying a subcontractor, you're paying a set amount for the job. So we know we can afford 50%, so we can pay that full amount. We can give them 50%. If I had to pay someone hourly, I would have to pay them about 45%, assuming they might go over budget, so that if they go over budget, they get up to 50%. So first of all, I can't offer people as good of a starting pay with employees as I can with subs. So I can give them the whole 50%. Here I have to give myself a little bit of a buffer in case things go wrong. But also with employees, the bigger problem is they aren't running a business. Subcontractors are running a business. They manage their material costs, they manage their employees, like they are making profits, so they're making sure the job is done efficiently. When it's employees, they don't really care about that necessarily. And most people who have employees are paying some sort of hourly wage. The problem with an hourly wage is they have no incentive to get that job done fast because they're getting paid every hour they're working, whether they're getting it done fast or slow. So the chances are they're not going to be as motivated as employees as subs are to get the job done fast, so the job gets done a little bit slower. The people who are on the sub crew and the employee crew are both making the same amount of money per hour, but these guys take more hours because they're not incentivized. So we actually end up paying more than 50% when we're managing employees. So Either way, we're paying workers somewhere in the range of $15 to $20 an hour, and we're paying and buying the same materials, and when we add those up, they need to equal about 50%, whether we're using subs or we're using employees, it doesn't matter. So why not just do it themselves? Why do contractors not just go out and get jobs for themselves? The first thing is that we're running a different business. The business that a subcontractor is running is a business where they're focused mainly on production. We're literally handing them a job where the colors are picked out, the customer's ready, the job is scheduled, all they got to do is show up the next morning and paint the house. Like, that's the business they're running. We're not doing any of that. The business we're running is more of a marketing and sales business. And guess what? Marketing and sales cost a lot of money and a lot of time to do. So from our 50%, we spend 7% just preparing the job. You know, that's the production manager, color consultant, confirming colors, doing test samples. We're spending about 7% to get the job ready. We're also spending about 2 to 3% on losses. So sometimes we pay more than 50%, and sometimes customers don't pay us the full amount because the screen got broken or something did. That comes out of our end, not out of our contractor's end usually. Usually we're covering that cost, which is 2 to 3%. So we're already up to like 60% of the total job now. Then we spend a lot of money on marketing. Like, how do you think we get so many estimates set up? Well, we've got to find those leads and those customers somewhere, and that costs money to do. And we're going to spend anywhere from 5 to 12% on marketing, depending on what channel and everything, because we're testing on marketing this year. So that raises the price. We also have salespeople. Like, they work full time doing estimates to sell jobs so these contractors have work. That costs us a lot of money to pay for a staff of salespeople. Next thing that we have is we have administration, accounting, taxes, payroll, and all that too, and that costs money as well. So you can start to see that we both have our parts in the business. If a contractor did want to start doing what we're doing, they actually would have to start charging a similar price to what we're charging if they wanted to do what we're doing, because there's new costs that they have that they didn't have when they're just being handed all of the work. So we're running a different business. Marketing, sales, customer service cost time and money. And some subcontractors, they either don't like the marketing and sales side of this business, or they're not good at it. So either way though, we just have different roles. I'm excellent at marketing and sales and running a sales team and preparing jobs and getting all that set up. And then we have contractors that are amazing at like getting out there and getting a job done and keeping the customer happy and doing a great job of that. And there's subcontractors who make amazing money and make really good money and have a great lifestyle, and it's just a different business that we're running. So that's why they don't do it on their own. Feel free to ask more questions and stuff in the comments. I always respond to the comments. If you want to hear more videos and stuff, subscribe on my channel. I will keep putting some more videos out this year, and I think that's about it. So I guess the last thing I'll kind of leave you with is, this might be new to you, this paying contractors 50%. This might be a new concept. However, there are companies all across the country following this model. I know a ton of them personally. I work with a ton of them through Painter Choice, and I talk to people all the time about this. So I would just invite you to give it a try, give it a whirl. And the thing to keep in mind is we have to charge the right price to be able to pay the contractor, and we need to pay the contractor a fair amount. And if we do that, our price should end up in the ballpark of the other similar comparable companies, because everyone has to pay labor, everyone has to pay for materials. How that money actually gets paid, whether it's with a 1099 check or a W-4 employee check, doesn't make a difference. The money still has to get spent, and the business still has to be profitable. Whether we're subcontracting or use employees doesn't make a huge difference, except that subcontracting is way more efficient than managing employees. So I hope I've kind of sold you a little bit more on the idea of subcontracting, because I wouldn't have the business I have today if we were doing employees and going the employee route. And it's really important to us to keep our contractors happy. So we're not out here trying to stiff people. We want to make sure that our contractors make great money and have a great life too. So that's it. Follow me for more videos. Hope to hear from you soon. Bye.